Guys, give us 5 minutes. We'll be starting by 11:05 or 11:10 max.
इधर साड़ी बना रखा है पर पानी दे मोबाइल
Good morning, guys. Give us 5 minutes. We'll be starting by 11:10. Guys, so the lawyer will be joining by 11:15, and we will start sharp at 11:15. Okay, good morning, guys. So we have Advocate Abhinav Raghuvanshi join the session. So without further ado, we will start with the session. Before starting the session, I will give a brief introduction about Advocate Abhinav Raghuvanshi first. So, Advocate Abhinav Raghuvanshi is an advocate on record and mediator at the Supreme Court of India with 15 plus years of experience in litigation and arbitration. He regularly appears before the Supreme Court, Delhi High Court, and tribunals such as NCLT, NCLAT, DRT, DRAT, CAT, and DIAC. He has represented major government and institutional clients including the Union of India, State of Uttar Pradesh, DDA, CBIC, Punjab National Bank, and Union Bank of India, and has also advised corporates like Binani Industries, McDonald's, Edelweiss, Moon Beverages, HAL Offshore, CMAC, and SpiceJet. His expertise spans across constitutional, civil, commercial, and corporate litigation, service and labor disputes, banking and insolvency matters, and white collar crimes. He currently serves as mediator at the Supreme Court Mediation Centre and arbitrator on the panel of NIXI. Apart from that, he has also recently joined as a counsel for Government of India, Panel A at Supreme Court of India. So that was just a brief introduction about our today's speaker. And without further ado, we'll just start with the session. So you can start with the session.
Thank you, Dhruv, for such a wonderful introduction. And thank you for inviting me on this webinar. I guess this is a webinar for the students. And before I proceed, I'd like to know the composition of the audiences, who are all we are having as an audience today. Can I know bit of, can you type, all these are allowed to chat on the voice note or they can type in the chat?
So they can
Dhruv, how do we interact?
interact via mic as well, and they can even chat. Like either of it works. They can turn on their mic and they can chat, or they can drop it on the text message as well. So either of it works.
Because chatting on the voice would make it a bit noisy. So, but few of them, can you introduce yourself a bit? I want just to know who are the target audiences basically. Based on that, I'll be trying to guide you whatever you expect from me, and whatever way you like me to guide you or to tell you about the litigation journey or the corporate journey or the civil litigation. We'll keep it general and we'll make it Q&A in the last, not in the last, but in the mid of it. So can I start with some of you introducing yourself? Which part of India you are from basically, most of you? LLB student first year, Uttam LLB, okay,
Mumbai.
you are third year student, Mumbai. Ani, okay, you are again a law student, Maitri Patel, okay, great, Ayush, great, okay, Delhi, Gujarat, Gujarat, great. So can I ask you what brings you to the webinar? What is your basic intent to join this webinar, especially on a Sunday? You can open up your mic. Some of you can open up your mics. I just want to make it interactive. It should not look like a classroom lecture. Okay? So you're allowed to open up your mic and speak something so that I can get a feel of what you want. Yes, Adab, you tell me.
I'm Advocate Sadaf Khan from Mumbai.
Okay, you are an advocate. You have completed your LLB and joined the
Yes,
profession.
yes, sir, yes. I'm practicing in
Okay,
criminal.
great. Oh, you're practicing in criminal side. Okay, great. Anyone else wants? I just want to know what all you like to know from me.
Yes.
Yeah, Amit.
Good morning.
Good
Myself Anish
morning.
Srivastava, and I am from Bihar. Now I'm
I'm
in first
from
year
Gujarat
of
University and
LLB first
professionally
year.
pursuing right now become plus NLB executive.
Okay. And you'll all like to know on the litigation. You want to become all. You want to become litigation lawyers. You want to pursue litigation as a career.
Yeah,
I think most
I
of the
want to
audience
know
is
about
interested to
more
know
and
about
more
litigation
about the
as a career.
litigation. Yes, I want to know more and more about the litigations and the basics of the litigation from you. I expect that you guide me as well as.
Okay, great. I can see more of the audience's service, judicial service, great. Because litigation and judicial services can be clubbed together. They go hand in hand for the next 3 years because nowadays there is a modification in the experience required for appearing in the judicial exams. I think 3 years is mandatory now. Great. Criminal litigation, there is something very generic about every litigation, and thereafter some specifications about civil and criminal side. Not an issue when I deal with the litigation thing, that will actually answer 80% of your query, whether it is for the civil side or for the criminal side. Now, civil and criminal will have their own nuances on both the sides. Let us first start with the yes, Ajay, Shifran,
Yes,
Aditya
sir.
Trivedi.
So I have a question
Can I-
regarding the. Hello,
Yes, yes.
sir. I have a question regarding the constitutional provision and the constitutional advocate.
We'll deal with that question, but today we are here only to tell you the generic things, because that thing has already been answered by and large mostly in your classrooms, and rest of the things which you learn is only during your legal practical practice.
All right, sir.
Okay, I'll answer all those things, not an issue, but this is not a classroom lecture. This is a very professional thing wherein I am supposed to guide you on the nuances of pursuing a career in litigation. Are you getting my point?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, every case which you deal as a litigator, as a lawyer, will involve certain question of law, certain explanations of clauses of a particular law, or interpretation of a statute, and thereafter the practical aspect of the litigation. So I am more on to today for the telling you what are the practical aspects of pursuing a career in litigation, and whatever experience I had through the interns which I had in my chamber, or through the juniors whom I interact day-to-day basis in the court, in the Supreme Courts or NCLT. I have certain perception about these juniors, and especially those who want to pursue litigation. And my experience says most of them are not very clear onto what actually takes you litigation, or what is required to become a successful litigation lawyer. So I am trying to address it in a generic format. In case you have a specific question, you may come obviously at the end, not an issue.
All right, sir.
Or koi, and what is the language would you prefer? Hindi is, or a bit of Hindi is there. Are you comfortable in Hindi also?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hindi or Hindi too.
Yeah.
And also
Okay.
Marathi.
Yes. Okay, you're from Maharashtra, so English is much better. So can I know from the audiences, anyone, how many of you had some internships till date? Because I can see most of them are from third year of their law. Just keep on writing in the chat box. How many of you had internship during your law course till date? Like you have reached third year. Did you have any internships? Okay, well, first. Okay. Anybody else who's having practical exposure, some practical exposure? No. Okay. Okay. Great. Great. Okay. Great. Now let me. Yes. Yes. So you're not having. Okay. Internship NCLT. Soumya says NCLT. Madhyasa says Amit. Okay. Just say yes and no. That's it. So, okay, I can see a mixed crowd wherein few people have gone through internship. Not all the people, but few people have gone through the internships. Now, let me tell you very frankly, as far as the litigation is concerned, okay, Bombay, okay, I could Bombay. Okay. 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 Great, great, great. Now, can you put up the questions? Most of the questions, I want to know what you want to know from me, basically. I will try to address the crowd from that perspective, so that 80% of your queries or whatever you have in mind is clear during this session itself, because we are going to keep the session short today, 1 hour only. Or should I start on my own?
Sir, I have a question. Good morning, sir.
Yes. Good
So
morning.
myself, Vaishnavi Abhinav, I am a first year student, BLLB. I'm in currently as in BP Law College. So I wanted to ask, how do we figure out if litigation is actually for us? Like, how should I know it?
Correct. Very relevant question for everyone. Everyone. And my advice would be very generic. Any decision till you are in the say till you are law, you should not decide for any specific thing like litigation or corporate. And therefore, I ask for internships. The best way to take any decision is to take informed decision, and to take that information and input, you need to have some practical exposure for everything where you want to land actually. So you will check out all this. If you want to become a general counsel, you can, one way is to learn through the internships. If you go to a law firm, you can have a feel of the environment, what it is like. Then you go to a corporate side, you can have a feel, and thereafter you decide. That is one basic way of. But let me tell you very honestly, for everything in life, let us try to visualize litigation as a general thing like any other branch of your profession, like engineering, doctor, and you have to keep a broader mindset. Everyone. So every particular field of profession is required to have certain basic ingredient. It requires certain basic ingredient. I'll just clarify it. Like for example, if you want to go into an army, suppose you want to join an army, so you should have that much of attitude, aptitude, wherein you are comfortable with the firearms, you are comfortable with the thought of fighting. You cannot take a message in that particular field where you don't like to see the bloodshed or something like that. Okay, you want to join, say, cricket, so you need to have certain basic quality. Even if within the cricket you want to become a bowler, or so you need to have certain strong arms. You need, if you want to become a batsman, you need to have a strong foot movements are very important to become. So if you are able to analyze your strengths and weaknesses, and then you have to match it with what is the requirement of litigation. And not litigation, that is generic for everything. You want to become a doctor or a surgeon, you need to have that precision of surgery. So there are so many people who pursue MBBS, but only 20% of them become the surgeons. Okay, are you getting my point? No, judiciary, somebody asked, judiciary, no, it's not at all tough. It is easier, I think. It is easier than most of the competitive exams. If I have to compare with the civil services, it is half of the civil service what it takes. And I'll come to that also. What is tough? What makes something tough? So I'll answer that. Don't worry. Somebody asked me for the judiciary also. So try to understand every field requires certain traits. If you want to become a detective, so you need to have a power of observation, extraordinary power of observation, above the normal. If you want to become a person who want to work as a secret agent, IB or RAW, something like that, there are traits which are required. You should not be talkative. You should be most of the time a person who is a good listener, good observer. So you have to match whether these natural traits are there in me or not. If you are comfortable with those traits, it's okay. If you are really keen to get into those, even if you don't have traits, you will have to inculcate those traits, but that becomes difficult. So one of the way to decide is first to know what are the basic elements, what are the basic ingredients or traits which are required to pursue a particular field. For example, somebody wants to become an engineer. आप engineer बनना चाहते हो, but you are not comfortable with mathematics. You are not good at mathematics. You don't like physics. So you cannot become an engineer. Very simple. You should not pursue engineering. If you want to become a doctor and you're not comfortable with biology, you are not comfortable with touching the animals, you cannot. That is the most basic prima facie test for deciding anything. You want to become an athlete, you don't want to run. You are a lazy guy, you like to work sitting in bed. You cannot become an athlete. Sorry. If you want to become, for example, an actor or a model, again, there are certain traits required. You should be very expressive. The expression should come on the face. And you should be good at delivering some dialogues. If you're not, you cannot become an actor. You see in acting, why I'm referring, because you will see that initially there was a perception in the film industry that those who are having good faces could only become the actors. Nowadays, you see there are so many people who do not have good faces and they are good actors because they satisfy the basic ingredient of acting. and the basic ingredients are more than the looks. Are you getting? Can I get some responses? Therefore, the one of the basic criterias and the best way is to take any decision is to know, like you want to become a counsel general. For example, let us come now to the litigation versus corporate. I'll give a disclaimer that I am not promoting litigation. I am not against any corporator. Everything is good till you are happy, till you are satisfied. Okay. So nothing is better than this. Litigation could be good for me, but bad for somebody else. And similarly, general counsel or corporate career could be good for somebody, could not be good for me. Because my natural traits does not matches. My natural liking does not. But whatever is naturally inbuilt in me, if I pursue that career, I'll be in sync with my traits, I'll be in sync with my strength, and therefore I'll be able to perform. I'll find it more interesting. And therefore, the only thing for us at this stage is to know our strength, our weakness, my basic traits, my liking, and then to know what are the traits, what are the qualities, what are the essentials, what are the elements required to pursue anything. You try to identify, and that is where we lack. Mostly we lack. Just a minute, I'll take this. कौन हो भाई यहाँ पे?
Sir, mic.
So if you, yes, am I audible now? I think I am audible. Dhruv, I am audible. Okay.
Yes, sir, you are.
So that is the first basic thing which you need to require, and where we fail actually, because we are actually following the herd mentality. हमारे यहाँ जो हमारे सीनियर्स करते आए हैं या जो हमने देखा हुआ है, जो हमारा पर्सनल परसेप्शन है, we are not taking decision based on the facts, we are taking decision based on perception. You have some perception about litigation, some perception which is based on the real data. You have some perception about corporate, you have some perception about criminal, you have some perception about civil side, but that is not actually supported by actual data. So if you do a good research for yourself about the field and match your things with the requirement of that particular field. If you want to become a pilot, you know what is the basic requirement for becoming a pilot? Is anybody aware of that? You can give only one time. This is the only exam which is allowed only once in a lifetime. If you fail once, you will never be allowed to take the pilot exam again. Vision is biological requirement. The mental requirement is no. The requirement is only decision making, because you are flying at a very high speed. The decision has to be taken in the fraction of second. If you are a kind of person who cannot take decisions quickly or in fraction of seconds, you are not allowed. And therefore, to test this, you are given only one chance. If you want to become a pilot in IAF, you'll get only one. For IAS, you'll get 4 or 5 attempts. For judiciary, you will have 4 to 5 attempts. For AOR, you can have so many attempts. But for becoming an IA pilot, only yes. Somebody wrote it? Yes. Therefore, you need to understand where you fit. This is the requirement, and that requirement is irrespective. Try to understand for every field. For litigation, similarly, we have certain requirements, and you have to fulfill that requirement, irrespective of your gender, your preferences, your background, your liking, your disliking. Yes, that is the exact name, pilot aptitude battery test. Yes, because it's not very relevant. We are not into that. Therefore, I'm just making you go through it, reminding you how the things are happening in and around us. And we need to know all these things. Okay. So one part is this. So now you also need to compare it vis-a-vis the advantages, pros and cons. Not I'll say advantages, just pros and cons. For example, are you clear on the thing like what is the difference between occupation and profession? Are you guys clear on what is the difference between occupation and profession? So that is one thing. Pooja says yes, she is clear. Can you tell us? Nausin Khan says yes, he is clear. Tell me, anybody can tell me what is the difference between profession and occupation? Anyways, because it is a webinar, that is the issue basically. We cannot interact here much because I am more used to interacting face to face rather than even in the course I am more used to interacting face to face. The difference is for profession you have a license and you have an individual name, you have an individual registration. That is called in our case registration number. After getting passing your LLB, you will be registered with any bar council, state bar council, and with that registration will carry you throughout your life. Okay, similarly, that happens with the doctors, CAs, CS, and there are a few more professions. In India, there are 5 only professions. Okay, occupation, you are salaried. You are salaried, and therefore, you don't get that advantage as compared to professions. So, pros and cons. But then, if you are in occupation, you have something guaranteed monthly remuneration, incentive, so many things. So, once you have decided whether you satisfy the basic requirement. I'm telling you, I'm using the word basic elements of that particular field or not. Thereafter, go to the questions and with the other alternatives, just compare with the other alternatives. Like what are the pros and cons? Now, every field will have certain advantages, certain disadvantages. Another field will also have advantage and disadvantage. Something advantageous for me may not be advantageous for other person, and something which is disadvantageous for me may be advantageous for other person. So in that term, you have to analyze, and thereafter, once you're clear and you are like checking between 2 options, 3 options. If you get an opportunity, go and explore it practically because the practical phase is quite different from the theoretical calculations. I'll tell you. Do not get into the final conclusion only on the theoretical basis. And everybody who is hardworking, who is very much devoted for their cause, they will get an opportunity, whether it is litigation or it is a corporate or say it is like civil or criminal, you'll get that. It's not a case. Now we feel that the newer generation is not having that kind of enthusiasm or that kind of dedication for their cause, and therefore they are not getting. Every day we at this stage are talking of good juniors. We don't get it, unfortunately. We don't get it. And there are something very generic to everybody. Whether you choose like litigation or you choose corporate or you choose any field in your life, there are certain things which are very generic in nature, which is required to succeed in any type of career. And that, I'll not repeat, that is very common, that you have to be very dedicated and honest to the cause, whatever career you are carrying. There is no shortcut to success. There is no shortcut to success. And third thing is, those important skills for success is punctuality, then honesty, and those things I am not going to repeat, but they are very generic and they are true. I can only say they are true. Nowadays, you will have a lot of podcasts. No, that is your puja, that is your definition of profession and occupation. The technical definition is only one, that you have a registration in your own name. You have a license. Like doctors have license, lawyers have license, CAs have license, CS have license, cost accountants have license. Okay. Now you, with that license, with your individual name, you are allowed to practice. Okay. And for the occupation, even if you're a lawyer, suppose you get employed with any NBFC or say any company as a general counsel getting salary, you have surrendered it. So you are not a professional now. And by and large, the traditional image of law, a career in law has been litigation. And therefore, till date, we are having some remnants. Now coming to the third part, I'll tell everyone, whatever you may choose within the legal field, I'm saying, whatever you may finally decide, suppose you decide to get into finally into corporate also. I'll tell you, there are few things if you are able to do. I'm not saying it's a compulsion, but if you try to do litigation for 2-3 years, initial stage especially, you will be more comfortable and you will be at a higher place even in corporate. If you join corporate after 3 years of litigation, even your pay perks will be better than a person who has joined corporate on day 1 after LLB. So if you go and join, say after 3 years of litigation, you decide to get back into some corporate, like a general counsel or a corporate practice, you will be better placed as compared to a person who directly went from the campus to the corporate side. And the only reason being that he did not have the practical exposure or practical feel of the court. If you are as a general counsel, you will have to deal with so many issues, because I am doing litigation for many corporate houses. Okay. So I am interacting with their counsel general, the legal team, and 70% of them have failed to even satisfy basic requirement. And therefore, the lalas, I call these industries, or the persons who are the owners of these big industries, as lalas I use, they are actually perplexed with them. So, and only, especially if you see in the banking side, those who are in the legal side, in the banking sector, they are working with, say, some NBFC bank like Kotak Mahindra or say SDFC. You will find these guys a bit capable, who have actually done the real show in the DRT or DRT. So they are more comfortable chasing their borrowers and more compliant with the law as compared to those guys who only had a theoretical knowledge, and they are more into issuing notices without having any effective remedy. And when you are under employment, that is a harsh reality. Just take it. People expect results. If you are working for a banker, he'll expect that whatever you may do, you may issue notices, you may fight case in the court, you may engage a lawyer, you may file a police complaint, whatever you may do, I want my money back. You are accountable. He don't show me the English, the way you drafted your notices to the borrower. They are least interested. They don't want to see what is the language of the complaint. No, they really want some result. Ultimately, whether the person was there in the court or not, whether we could recover the money, the lost money, which is called NPA, whether we could regularize the NPA or not. And for having that confidence, you need to have practical exposure. And litigation being the most traditional branch of law, I will not say it is so hard or so risky, but the only issue is that we have never taken a structured approach for analyzing a career in litigation. So I'm not saying that litigation is better than any other field, but I'm saying it is such a generic field that if you are able to pursue it for, say, first 3 years of your career, wherever you go, finally, whether in a corporate or in a corporate particular company or NBFC or PSU, or you will be more confident, you will be bit apart from the crowd. And your even salary perk, which is the main concern of the guys these days, it will be much better when you are recruited. Day one, when you are recruited after 3 years of experience, that will be better than the person who started his career. So ultimately, you don't compare yourself. Finally, you will be landing. If suppose after LLB, somebody joins a bank or a particular corporate house. Okay, I'm just trying to tell you, he gets X salary. After 3 years, he will get X plus 2. And when we join after 3 years of litigation experience, you will get X plus 5. So ultimately, in long run, you are compensated. But yes, for the short run, for the plus 3 years, that depends on what and how you pursue yourself during those 3 years. And that 3 years are not for zero. Somebody asked, Aisha Siddiqui asked me what was her starting salary. I never worked. I've been junior only for 4 months with additional advocate general for the state of Rajasthan in Supreme Court, and I didn't charge a single penny. I never asked for a salary. I was a first generation lawyer. I needed some good chamber. But I made money. I will not say that I didn't make money. I made money. So don't worry on the salary. If you are into litigation, the salary should get out of your mind. There is nothing called salary. It is a profession. You get fees. Even if you are working as an associate, junior associate with a chamber, what you get technically is retainership fees. The moment it becomes salary, your eligibility to get, suppose you want to appear in judiciary and you are required 3 years of experience as an advocate. So if you start getting salary technically, those years will not be counted. Therefore, we have associates, R.K. Garg and Associates, ex-chamber and Associates and company. So in all this profession, so therefore you have to plan. Aisha, you are asking a question. Yes, you have to plan and you have to combine it with some practical exposure post your LLB. Because for 3 years, you will have to do something. And let me tell you, in the judiciary, you have something called judgment writing. Okay. And there are questions on procedural aspects. So you can cram theoretically, but it will not come into your mind. If you do it practically, suppose you are practicing side by side, not obviously you'll have to refine your hours based on your personal choices and your engagements. So you will be in a better position to answer those questions like judgment writing. If you see on daily basis the orders which are passed when you appear before the court, you will be in better position to write when you ask the question about judgment writing or about any step like evidence also. They are asking these questions about evidence recording also. So if you see the real file as a lawyer also, how the evidence is being recorded by a witness, by a judge, for a witness, when you ask the question when you are appearing for judiciary, it can be answered more effectively as compared to others who have only theoretically crammed. Okay? But I will come to these questions. Let me first finish up this part. Somebody started with the question that how we decide the question that should I pursue litigation or litigation is meant for me or not. So I'm just trying to conclude that part. So I think by and large I covered this. And the first part was identifying the basic requirement of that particular profession or particular field of expertise. Then match it with yourself. Then analyze pros and cons of each of these alternatives. And thereafter get a practical exposure. You know you have to do this for next 65 years, 50 years, 45 years. So if you can spend 4 to 5 years deciding this, it will be much better than repenting it after 5 years, saying that I joined a wrong field, I should have done this. I was wrongly advised. So you better invest some time, and that time should not be for free. You will be earning something, and there is a famous saying, a lawyer never loses. Either he wins or he gets experience. Okay. So these formative years are very important. 4 to 5 years. I'll say 0 to 3 years, 3 to 5. And you have to understand, like in every profession, in this profession also, like in your life also, if you compare this with your general life, your priorities during your first, when you were like 7 years old, was different when you became 12 years old. Do you agree with me? Your choices of spending time when you were 12 years old and when you became 18 years old, changed or not? It changed. You agree with this fact? So just try to think that a person or a human being is always also evolving. Not only personally but professionally also. You have to evolve. So requirement for the first year, first 5 years is a bit different, and your choice, your preferences will change based on your experiences. Based on your experiences, and those experiences could be good for somebody, could be bad for somebody, could be general for somebody. But it all depends what kind of planning I had for first 5 years. And if you are planned good for the first 4 or 5 years, you will have good experience, I am telling you. So you don't feel that whatever you decide today is going to remain static. Today, in my times when we started our career 15 years back, there were few options in the legal arena. Today we have lot many options. Okay? Do you agree to this? Now we have like digital data, cyber law, then we have this NCLT was not there, IBC has come into picture, and then IPR has come into prominence. So there are so many fields. Now sports law is also coming, media law has come into, because of this OTT platforms, media law is also become very strict. So there are many upcoming fields of litigation for you or for law in general. Litigation and law is not very different, I tell you. If you are working for, say, a particular media house as an in-house counsel, you will be doing and reading the same stuff which I as a litigator am reading. But the only difference is that I am reading it with along with the CPC, CRPC and everything. So that I am aware of the legal procedure also. So now there are so many fields come up. Now imagine after 10-15 years there will be more field. It is not a case that whatever is in option today, these will remain the options. Some options will become obsolete, some options will become very prominent, and some options will be like becoming a regular kind of options. So you have to keep this in mind that every day we are evolving professionally also, not only personally, professionally also. And there is a mindset. Mindset is very important to succeed in any part of your life. So you have to first build up a mindset for a particular career. You should be very ready. Like for litigation, if you ask me, there is a mindset called you have to be ready for every uncertainty. Not only uncertainty with the people at your age worry about money only. The only uncertainty they worry is the money at your age. Okay? But that is not the only uncertainty. The uncertainty is I'll give you money. Let me tell you, I have juniors where you could earn 50,000 in a night, but you are not ready because you have now, by the time you went into bed by 10 p.m. in the night, somebody called me from the PS police station, saying that somebody is held up at the lockup. So can you send some junior so that we can negotiate with the police? Now you are giving preference to your comfort. At it is 10, no. Litigation is about 10. I did my first, I'll share my experience. I did my first criminal case. I'll not name him, but he was a member of parliament from eastern part of UP, and he was a gangster also. At night, 1 p.m., I got a call from somebody who was very close to him from Chanakyapuri Thana. I vividly remember. And he says he got acquainted to me 2 days back. He said, "Yeah, my MP has been arrested or is about to be arrested. We are not clear. These people are holding him up. Can you come to the police station?" And it is your choice. Don't say litigation is like uncertain. No. Life is uncertain. Life is certain होती तो insurance क्यों लेते? Is there certainty of life? आज डेट में 40 years के बच्चे 40 साल के उम्र के लोग जिम करते करते ऊपर चले जा रहे हैं. यू आर नॉट सर्टेन. 28 years में हार्ट अटैक हो रहे हैं. 28 years में हार्ट अटैक हो रहे हैं. कैन यू इमेजिन? इतनी छोटी एज में आपको हार्ट अटैक हो रहा है, स्ट्रेस हो रहा है, आप मतलब इफ द लाइफ इज नॉट सर्टेन, हाउ डू यू एक्सपेक्ट द सर्टेनिटी? यू ओनली एक्सपेक्ट द कंसिस्टेंसी, not the certainty. If you are consistent in your efforts, if you are consistent in your goal, pursuing your goal, you'll get the results. That is called positive manifestation also. I'll not use those terms for you guys because you are still students. But I'm telling you, there is one basic requirement for pursuing litigation, whether civil or criminal. It is you have to be ready for every eventuality. Now there are cases when I flew back from Mumbai, I used to regularly appear before the Bombay High Court till Corona. So I flew back from Mumbai after attending my case, and it was afternoon 2:30. I reached here. I was supposed to meet somebody in Mumbai before coming back to Delhi, but somehow I did not pick up the phone. I landed at the airport and I was heading for my house. I was in my car. I got a call from Mumbai. Arey, you left Bombay. I said, I just left, sir. I landed in Delhi. Well, no, I need you. You come back. My house was ready. I had instructed some people in my office, and because it was on the way, and I was getting back to my house for the lunch, and I had to say no. उसको फोन किया मैं वापस जा रहा है एयरपोर्ट. बोले मजाक बना रहा है. नहीं मजाक नहीं है. Because he has discussed that issue, but somehow, and it's the issue of big corporate house, and I have to take a U-turn midway and go back to the airport. Obviously, when you are pursuing these kind of cases, you don't need to worry about the small logistics. There is a person with the tickets. There is a person who will receive at the airport. There is a person who will let you check in into Trident or Taj or anything. So when you are pursuing at this level, you don't need to worry about this logistics. But you have to be very consistent. You have to be ready for every eventuality. At this age, and after 16 years of almost practice, I am still ready. Like 2 p.m. night. Yes, we are lucky now. We have a team. We don't get this. We have things streamlined. But today also you have to be mentally ready for every eventuality. And that is true for general life, I feel, but you may not actually agree with me, but you have all the right not to agree with me. But I am telling you, one of the harshest part of pursuing litigation, be it civil, also on the civil side, I tell you, like you can see there are so many notices for demolitions. We had cases in vacation benches. The vacation bench said at till 9 p.m. the judge was sitting. So how can we think as a lawyer that we will not work beyond 5 or 6? The bench sat at till 11 in the night, and I was there. I got to stay at 9:30 in the night because tomorrow the demolition was to happen, and it was a vacation, June, in Delhi. The message is not that I did a great thing. The message is that you have to be ready for the eventualities. And there is where you get a good money also. Especially when you are buying for money as a first generation lawyer, I am first generation lawyer, you will not get good money in a regular cases because every Tom, Dick and Harry is doing the same thing. Where do you get money? where you do something which is different than the normal or the routine work. And that will come through these kind of eventualities only. You have to be ready, mentally ready. It may not come for months and months, for 6 months it may not come, but it may come any day. So that is one of the harshest requirement of litigation, and that is true for money also. It may be like 29 days you don't get a single case. I'm just giving you an example. Somebody asked me the salary or what was your salary. To start with, I waited for 29 days with no case. Okay? On the 30th day, you get a case where you get a fees for 1.5 lakhs, 1 lakh. Am I not audible?
It's very clear, Vice.
I think I'm audible. Audible.
Yes.
So most of, and that is true for civil as well as criminal litigation, requires that mental readiness of being ready for any eventuality. Number one, certainty you will have to accept, uncertainty you will have to accept. That is the harshest part. And third part, you don't read. The third part is, don't try to see a comfort. Because you will have the courts which are having AC, that like NCLTs, NCLT, Supreme Court, High Court. We all like Delhi, all these courts are like AC courtrooms. You have a comfort. Our Delhi High Court is totally centralized AC. And if you go to the arbitration side, it's more comfortable. Arbitration, where we all have, most of this arbitration used to happen in the 5-star hotels. Nowadays, we have arbitration centers, institutional arbitration. So that are happening. So physically they are very comfortable. But if you have to fly to this 25 May, I flew to a place 200 kilometers away from Ahmedabad. That is very small Patan, very small place in Gujarat, for a bail, where you don't have proper stairs. Oh, अंग्रेजों के ज़माने का कोर्ट बना हुआ था. Building was like a building, colonial building, where you don't forget about AC, you didn't have a proper chair. You may be used to staying in Taj, you may be used to staying in Trident or JW Marriott, but then you should have that flexibility to adapt to the situation where you have be physically very uncomfortable. Physically, I'm saying. Because it's a CBI matter. There are 12 accused, ED person is also there. And you cannot ask for a fan or an AC. You have to accommodate yourself for 2 hours, 1 hour. So that is the hard part I'm telling you, so that you are mentally ready. Because nobody tells you, I'm not scaring you, but it is very comfortable. Let me tell you. Once you are focused on your goal, it is very comfortable. Because what you are visualizing is a charge sheet and your argument for the bail. And you are very happy that because I don't have much of evidence in the charge sheet, I will be able to sail through my bail. And the next part for every lawyer, I will not hide it. For every lawyer is, if I am able to get a bail, X is the amount fixed as a success fees. Forget about the regular fees. There is something called professional fees for a case, and there is something called success fees. So you are just, I'll take a call. I'll have to take a call. Sorry, because of Sunday, I had certain engagements and I had to postpone it. So they are all asking me for the coordination. So I think by this time and by and large clear onto the broader aspects of litigation. Sonu is saying something. I could not read it properly. Soumya is also asking what was the most interesting bail matter. I just today I want to carry on a generic aspect. Don't get into my things, because my personal things, my personal experiences could be different from your personal experiences or your preferences also. Therefore, I am just telling that I'm just trying to give you a picture that I'm a senior. I'm not a person who has achieved so many things. I'm just trying to tell you that I have crossed this path, I've traveled this path, I'm trying to share my journey. And I'm trying to share it journey in a very honest manner. It's also negatives also. I'm just trying to share my journey. There are so many cases. There were 2 or 3 cases. If somebody was want to ask me, that was in my interview also. I was interviewed by SEC online 3 years back. So you can go through that. It will give you a bit of glimpse here. Because I have a limited time today, so I just want to confine it for the main intent for which this particular webinar is happening. If you find it interesting, you may get in touch with Dhruv or the team. We can organize the webinars on a specific topic. If you want to know something on money laundering, PMLA, you want to know something on the CBI special matter, or you want to know on the arbitrations, because I am also arbitrator today. Apart from a lawyer in appearing in the arbitrations, I started my arbitration career in Mumbai only. Yes, first generation lawyer that somebody is asking. I am also first generation lawyer. The first generation lawyer is all about, the first generation lawyer is only different. I'll tell you, Aisha, is about not knowing even how to bill the clients. And whatever I'm telling you, if you get a good mentor, if you can guide you beyond the statutes, because if you are a 3-year law student, you might be cramming at least every semester 5. That is 30 statutes. And let me tell you, whatever you learn, even from the National Law School, that is only going to help you to an extent of 10%. Litigation, it is only going to help you maximum for the extent of 10%. You need to have more practical exposure. How many of you know about the what actually picture you get when we talk about the court arguments or the litigation as a career, as a litigation lawyer? What you're supposed to do? Can somebody tell me? Five years, somebody is from the 5 years LLB. I personally am not very positive about 5 years LLB, I'll tell you, because there's people actually go from my school to another law school. And for litigation, you need general maturity, then the legal maturity. For example, I started my career with the Additional Advocate General for the state of Rajasthan. So we were supposed to deal with the senior IAS officers or the government officials, which used to come from different departments, whom we used to represent from the office of Additional Advocate General. So you should have that maturity to talk to an IAS officer with, even if you are 3 months old in profession. So that kind of thing, I'll tell you, it's not about this. We have a very parochial picture about, I'll just try to demystify something about litigation. First is the way we visualize the court. What we generally visualize is, like there is a court where judge is sitting in the center. On this side, there is another lawyer, and on this side is the lawyer. And the lawyers are supposed to argue only. You have to keep arguing, saying something in the court. Is that the only function of a lawyer, and especially a 0 to 5 years of experience lawyer? And especially this picture is actually given. No, representing client includes so many things. Then arguing every day in a court, listing is not for the argument. This you need to understand. Okay. So the picture, we have a very parochial picture. Every time we appear in the court, every day we have to argue. There are clients who are saying that, अरे आपने तो कुछ बोला ही नहीं, आपने argue नहीं किया. वो pleading के लिए matter रखा था. उसमें लिखा था कि last time the proceeding was that they have to file the response on the next day. They filed it, and we said let the matter be fixed for the final argument. There are IAs within the big case. There are IAs in civil side. We say IA. In the criminal side, we say criminal miscellaneous applications. So this picture itself is a misleading picture, which is given, I think, by and large to the law student through this, what we say, moot courts. Moot courts only talk about, mostly, I'm not saying all the court, there are few I've seen a very recent trend that they are actually getting into the case preparedness also. So it's about arguing. No, there is a larger picture, there is a larger ecosystem, which I say it's an ecosystem of a court where there is something called registry. Okay, something called registry, where the cases are filed, where the defects are cured. Yes, but that is theoretical. That is not the issue. You have to understand the stages. The stage, I'll just briefly try to drag because now I'm running out of my time. Just try to understand. First step is you get a case independent. I'm just assuming that we have No. Collection of evidence is a very different thing. That is a very different story. That is not the stage. You understand the stages. First stage is there is a client and you solicit the client. Thereafter, you take the documents from him based on what he says and based on what is required for the type of case we want to file. There could be 2 and 3 remedies also. There could be a case where you could go for, say, RERA, you could go for directly High Court and Supreme Court also. Now, based on your wisdom, the legal wisdom I'm telling you, based on the legal wisdom, experience and expertise, and based on the capability of the client, will decide which forum to choose and which type of litigation to initiate. And the moment you are decided on to that, you will now come to the evidences part. That will call very raw evidence. With those, whether you are having these evidence, for these kind of evidences, I can only approach RERA. If you have this kind of document, I can go to High Court directly. And for deciding every forum, there is something called jurisdiction. So you'll have to look into that aspect. I cannot lecture that. That will take another different thing. You just try to visualize the steps. Client आ रहा है, डॉक्यूमेंट आप ले रहे हो, फोरम डिसाइड कर रहे हो, कौन सा फोरम जाना है, उसके बाद स्टार्ट होती है नई कहानी ड्राफ्टिंग की. यू स्टार्ट ड्राफ्टिंग, whether it is a legal notice or a civil suit or a criminal application or a bail application. Now the story is only 30% done. Even after drafting requires so many skills on which we can have different seminar and you can have organized from your sponsors, basically these people. But I'm telling you, drafting. Now after drafting, there is something called filing. Now from this onwards, the court role starts. The moment you are before the court counter, filing. Here you are before the court, you have to satisfy all the requirements of filing. This is what we are supposed to do as an AOR for Supreme Court. And Supreme Court therefore tests a skill. It takes a test for being an AOR before Supreme Court. And you need to have 5 years of experience for appearing in that test. And then you clear that test. So then you'll have to satisfy the requirement of the registry of that particular court. It could be NCLT, NCLAT, Supreme Court, High Court, any court. There are requirements like there should be an affidavit which should be attested. If it is from a corporate, it has to be supported by board resolution. Even if an affidavit has different formats, there are different type of affidavits. It's not a generic thing. Then there are requirements that suppose you are filing particular annexure as an evidence, you need to have it in a particular format. It should be typed in Supreme Court. In High Court, photocopies will do. So it takes a lot more time to what we technically call it defect. The registry will raise a defect onto each of your filing. Okay. Then you get back to the registry saying that these are the defects. I'll cure the defects and post your court, cure the defect. It will go to the listing branch. Again, there are so many steps. If there is an urgency in the matter, you have to mention it before the Chief Justice or before the concerned court or before the roster judge. And thereafter, you can get only through the practical experience. Somebody asked Aisha, I'll be leaving my email here. You can, all those who are having any queries beyond what I'm able to address today in the session, you can put all those questions through your person Dhruv. He can send me those questions and we can have answered for everyone. Not an worry. Just try to take a knack of it. Just try to have a substance of it, absorb it. You need to realize what are the steps before the argument comes. Now we are at a stage where these things are being done by my juniors, and this is what you are supposed to do from 0 to 5 years. Then you raise a defect and there is urgency in the matter. The client is before you, after you rather, and he says कि tomorrow matter list करा दीजिए वरना मैं arrest हो जाऊंगा, and we are filing anticipatory bail, or tomorrow there will be demolition and we need to get it listed, okay, urgently. So there are steps involved and they are more painful than arguing, let me tell you. They are more cumbersome, but more rewarding also, let me tell you. More rewarding. Clerks are earning more than the new juniors. Why? Because they have had an expertise of this particular area, from filing to getting listed. This is the role of a court clerk or an intern or a junior for 0 to 5 years. Junior will include the drafting part also. The drafting which we have done before filing. The clerks will not be involved in drafting. You have to make that difference. You have to draft and thereafter you will get into, and obviously during 0 to 5 years of drafting, you will be referring to so many things, including you will be guided by your senior or mentor. And thereafter you get it listed before a particular judge and you say to your senior or yourself, he'll say that today is the first day of that matter. We have to appear and we have to argue the bail or we have to argue for the stay apart from the merits of the case. Okay. So there are a lot many steps, and till this stage, when we are before the judge, we have crossed 70% of the stage. And thereafter comes what somebody was, evidence is required in a civil trial or a criminal trial. You need to understand the stage. First is the pleading stage. We are at pleading stage. Okay. Thereafter, evidence stage. And third one is the argument stage. And each stage has certain sub. Again, it will take another lecture, full lecture to understand the stages. And this is the thing which is not taught, unfortunately, in any of the law schools, including the national law schools. First part. Second part, most of the young students are not aware of the biggest forum because you need more opportunities now. So traditionally, we visualize only Supreme Court, High Court, and the district courts in the hierarchy of the courts. Is that right? Is that right? Normally, the moment I say litigation, the thing which comes to my mind is High Court, Supreme Court, and the district courts. But let me tell you, there are n number of tribunals which are there and which are better than district courts and at par with the high courts. And in terms of money and rewards, it is more rewarding than a high court and a district court. Like I'll tell you, ITAT, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal. You know about CAT, Central Administrative Tribunal, DRT, Debt Recovery Tribunal, SAT, SEBI Appellate Tribunal. Then there are Electricity Tribunal, Consumer Forums, NCLT, National Company Law, NCLAT. There are parallel courts. We say parallel courts because they have been delegated their power through the High Court only, 2 to 6. So I'll tell you 335. So we are not looking from the perspective that we are having more forums like income tax forum. If a person has a commerce background or a taxation background, he is more comfortable doing all those things. For service matters, we have a specific tribunal called CAT, Central Administrative Tribunal. We have also called something called Armed Force Tribunal, AFT. Okay. So that deals with the armed force cases only. DRT is Debt Recovery Tribunal that deals with the banking cases only. There is something called TD SAT. People are not aware at your age. And let me tell you, there is dearth of lawyer in those tribunals. यहाँ एक तरफ तो 3 कोर्ट में पूरी भीड़ लगा रखी है, 200 लोग खड़े हैं एक लाइन में और वहां काउंटर खाली पड़े हैं. Getting my point? So if you can choose a specialization over there, and there are limited benches in those tribunals. Limited benches. 3-4 judges, 3-4 benches हैं. If you regularly appear, those judges will recognize you. And there is where you can make your own identity. You can make your own money. And people have made it. ऐसा नहीं, I am telling you some fairy tale or some fiction story. I have met seniors in my time. I started practicing in CAT. I have met seniors who made their career. We are having judges who practice exclusively in CAT. We are having 2 judges in Delhi High Court. She was there in CAT only through the life till she was elevated. We have seen judges in NCLT who were only there before DRT and maximum before the High Court. So we have to also identify the opportunities. Where do we have opportunities? If we stick to only traditional courts like High Court, Supreme Court, and district courts, obviously there is a lot of race. I'm not saying there is not opportunity, but there is a lot of race. In the tribunals, you have a filtered crowd, filtered litigation, subject-wise specialized litigations, and filtered people who are appearing before those tribunals. So you can explore your particular career based on your own strengths and weaknesses, based on your own strengths. If you are more comfortable with, say, dealing with the taxation matters, you can go for SEAMEC also. Nowadays, it will come as GST tribunal. So if you are having expertise in taxation, there are IP tribunals also. Nowadays, virtual hearing is happening in all these trademark matters, patent matters, and that is a different tribunal, IPAB, that is called Intellectual Property Appellate Board. So we need to also identify, along with our strengths and weaknesses, what are the venues available for a litigation lawyer. Are we having only civil courts, session courts, high courts, and Supreme Court, or are we having some other courts also? Yes, we are having. And there are more than 30 tribunals in this country. The principal bench may be there in Delhi, but there are circuit benches all over India. So you have to also identify this, like ED tribunal. ED nowadays is very popular on the criminal side. And let me tell you, there are certain tribunals where the girls have an advantage. There are certain areas of practice where as a woman you have an advantage in terms that those tribunals or those clients, there is dearth of good lawyers who come from, who are girls basically in the ED tribunals. Because in ED matters, most of them are males, the prosecuting officers, the judges. But nowadays we have accused who are coming from a good family background. They are like industrialists. They have been roped in, you can say, or made accused by these CBI or ED people. You may have come across the news of Karnataka. There was an actor from Karnataka who was involved in gold smuggling. So they are more comfortable counseling through a lady lawyer, basically. So ED tribunal is also there nowadays. We are having appellate ED tribunal in Delhi also and other circuits also. So appellate tribunals for ED is also there. Then we have adjudicating authority, something called, that is also a tribunal. You have SAT also. If you are based out of Mumbai, SAT is also always and only located in Mumbai. It is not anywhere in India, Delhi. No, it is only in Mumbai. So if you are practicing on the corporate side or you want to get into the corporate, you need to have certain expertise. NGT is also there, right? NGT is also there. Nowadays it has become a bit ineffective, but yes, NGT is there. You're right. NGT is there and there is no appellate tribunal for it. NGT, from NGT you will have to go to Supreme Court directly. There are certain clauses, certain cases for you, which you are allowed to go. As a statutory measure, you are allowed to go directly to Supreme Court, or else you will have to go to the High Court, the division bench. So there are so many tribunals also. So along with your own thing, you need to explore the possibilities which are, or the venues where you can showcase your expertise or your talent. So that has to be done simultaneously. It's not about once I choose this one, I choose. No, you have to do a lot of homework for first 3 years, 2-3 years. You can start your homework along with your LLB also. Somebody was asking me a question, how do I get the best exposure during my LLB also? That the only way is to join good chamber. The only way is to join a good chamber, whomsoever he may be, wherever you may be located. Join a best good chamber as per you, and then you can explore those things. And at the end of say 3rd year, 2 years of practical exposure, I'm telling you, practical exposure, you are in a better position to decide about where I stand and what do I pursue. Do I pursue litigation? Do I pursue say anything else like corporate or something like that? And likewise, it will apply for the corporates also. Okay. Somebody asked, bro, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We are running out of time. I think should we conclude the session today, or how do we go? How do we proceed today?
Yeah, we can conclude the session. I guess we have already, it's 12:17. So yeah, maybe we can complete the session, and all the queries that students have, I will share them your mail ID, and apart from that, we will also be having sessions further. So in the further sessions, maybe we will answer
You
those.
can also, yes, you can, yes, right. You can also call for those questions and forward it to me.
Yeah. I will forward you all those questions, and we will be having further more sessions with you as well. It was a really great session.
Yeah, so that we can have an idea that what actually they want to know from us basically at this stage. So this was the most generic thing which I could tell them at this point of time. There was some query coming before me saying that I am 35, something like that. Yes, GP. Yes, Mr. GP, you. So it all depends, GP, what motive you are having for doing LLB and what is your background. If you can sync your past experience with LLB, that could obviously be help. There is no age for pursuing litigation at least. For corporates and for other careers, you can have an age barrier, but for pursuing litigation, you don't have any age barrier. You only have the talent or the expertise barrier. And but I'd like to suggest you that you just club in your past experience. There are people who come at the age of 60. Why? Because throughout the career, they have been like SP in CBI or a GM in a bank. Post retirement, what they are doing is that they are mostly advising, they are not appearing in the court. but they are advising their clients who are bankers post-retirement. They have joined some NBFC as a consultant. And because they are having LLB, so they are in a better position to advise as compared to those guys who are not LLB. Those are only CS or CS. So yes, there is no age for litigation. It all depends on your motive and your past experience. Is that okay, GP? Okay.
Okay, so I guess we can wind up then. We are done with today's session, and thanks a lot, sir, for joining this session today and answering all the questions. It was really great session for everyone as well, and I will share you the feedback as well. And apart from that, I guess thanks to everyone for joining the session today as well. And we will be conducting further sessions with Abhinav sir as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So you have any ending notes to say?
Nothing. Thank you, Dhruv, and thank you, everyone. I hope that your time was utilized for a proper purpose. And thank you. You should say thanks to Dhruv for taking such a great initiative, novel initiative for guiding the young lawyers. And I am
Thank you,
ready to
sir.
help you to whatever extent. So let's hope that we continue this for further few sessions.
Informative lecture and session.
Chala, you are saying something?
Yes, sir, you were saying thank you.
Yes, I was saying that. Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thank you
Should
guys.
we end the session?
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.